So as the cleanup efforts get underway, freight companies are trying to get operations up and running so goods can get to where they need to be. Brennan has our story.
On the heels of 2 hurricanes, transportation carriers are scrambling to get freight moving once again.
It actually happens a little bit quicker than you'd think. The companies are already staged prior to the weather, all of the resources they need to, repair and rebuild, and they do it essentially immediately as soon as they can get in.
Ahead of Irma, shippers diverted ocean cargo to ports further north along the coast, and trucks and trains were moved out of the storm's path. But as infrastructure is assessed and repaired, companies are getting back to work, and shipping demand is spiking.
Major storms in 2 contiguous regions of the country are creating a lot more demand for trucks to serve those areas, both in terms of resupplying the areas with supplies that are needed, in addition to supporting the U.S. economy. Immediately after the storms, there's a resurgence or a need to get supplies, refrigerated goods, foodstuffs into those areas. And then in the longer term, as those areas start to rebuild, construction and other materials need to go into those areas.
Trucking rates soared in the week between Harvey and Irma, according to DAT Solutions. While it's still too soon to know the full impact of Irma, rising diesel prices and demand for materials as recovery commences are expected to propel rates even higher. Some carriers are already sending convoys into Florida. Werner Enterprises deployed 100 big rigs south, filled with hurricane relief supplies from Home Depot. The interruptions to business and damage to infrastructure will dent transport stocks' earnings in the near term, especially since some shipments will never be recouped.
It's really all about sort of the disruptive aspect of not having any volume for a period of time to move. And then there's going to be some repair and damage dynamic that runs through the cost side. And then as we move forward over the course of the next few weeks, we would expect sort of a gradual recovery. It doesn't happen all right away, but we should start seeing volume growth again in the next couple of weeks.
So it's back to work, even for the railroads, which have fixed networks most vulnerable to damage. As companies directly in the hurricane's paths get tracks fixed and trains running, it's good news for investors, but also for consumers, since the peak holiday season is already in sight. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Brennan.